First the issue. I could have stopped him. It's me. Definitely my fault. Definitely my fault.
No, I'm gonna do me. Regardless. I told him leave his mom and, the people home. He still broke them. It's crazy, man. It's gonna get bad. Man. But, it's all love.
After months of silence, Errol Spence has finally called for a rematch against Terence Crawford. This comes in response to Crawford's recent remarks, dismissing Spence as a subpar fighter. While many believe it's too late to pursue a second fight, Spence has decided to challenge the two-time undisputed champion following repeated instances of disrespect from Crawford.
I definitely could have. That was on me too. That was on me for sure. Cause I ain't pick it up when I supposed to pick it up. And I could have definitely did more. He caught me with a good shot, but it was times that I sat in there with him and I'm like, damn, this guy like super slow. Well, not super slow, but he's slow. And I could have took advantage of the moments, but
Spence's first fight against Crawford ended in disaster, significantly damaging his reputation as a top-tier boxer. His lackluster performance became a defining moment in his career, one that many in the boxing community won't soon forget. Now, Spence has reignited the conversation by calling for a rematch on social media, after watching a clip of Crawford questioning whether Spence deserves a spot in the International Boxing Hall of Fame.
I was boxing too much in the beginning, and when I felt like he was slow, it was just relate down the line type of thing.
Crawford made his stance clear, stating that Spence wouldn't be a Hall of Famer if he retired today. Unsurprisingly, this didn't sit well with Spence, who fired back on social media. Frustrated by the ongoing disrespect, he hinted at a potential rematch, saying, "We probably should run this back at this point."
What you talking about? He like, they ain't gonna give it to you. I said, oh, is that right? So, that's how boxing works. It's sad to say, that's how boxing works. I'm not, totally upset. I figured with a superstar, you won't get too much on paper.
Spence has remained out of the ring since his 2023 defeat against Crawford, only making public appearances to promote fighters under his own boxing promotion. Once seen as an evenly matched opponent, Spence was thoroughly outclassed in their bout, suffering the first loss of his career. Now, as speculation grows about his future, the prospect of a rematch lingers.
Think about what happened in the 9th round. How frustrated are you that wasn't counted as a knockdown?
Man, I'm not.
Spence recently took to social media to reflect on what he believes was his biggest mistake as an athlete: drinking. His candid post drew a reaction from fellow boxer Gervonta Davis, who was set to fight Lamont Roach that night. "Worst thing I did to myself was drinking. If you're an athlete, focus on the end goal. Hopefully, it's a better situation for you and your loved ones." Despite his loss to Crawford, Spence has had a stellar career. However, his last performance led to growing criticism, with some fans questioning whether he still has what it takes. In response to the doubters, Spence fired back on X, formerly Twitter, writing, "Some of y'all use he washed too loosely post y'all mama so you can see what washed really is."
I damn sure thought I had it. Especially when they announced the score for him. I was like, oh, they gonna give me a split decision win. I was like, oh yeah. Honestly, I thought I should have won without that being counted a knockdown. Look, I ain't the ref. I ain't really, if he had to wipe sweat out.
Before his loss to Terence Crawford, Errol Spence Jr. was the unified welterweight champion, holding the WBA, WBC, and IBF titles from 2017 to 2023. Now 34 and having been inactive for nearly 2 years, fans are eager to see who his next opponent will be. Meanwhile, Crawford has stirred controversy with his recent comments about Spence, questioning his legacy. Their 2023 showdown saw Crawford dominate in a one-sided victory, and since then, Spence has yet to return to the ring, despite having the option to invoke a rematch clause.
eye, he had to wipe sweat out his eye. But the rules do state, if you voluntarily take a knee, then that's an automatic 8 count. But it is what it is. I wasn't relying on that. I was relying on what I was doing in it. I think I was taking control. I think I was landing more shots. I think I was landing more power shots.
Recently, Spence was in talks to fight WBC and WBO super welterweight champion Sebastian Fundora, but after multiple delays, the bout never materialized. This led many to speculate that Spence may never return to the ring. Meanwhile, Crawford's career has only ascended. He is now set for a mega fight against Canelo Alvarez in September. In a recent interview with 4 Pound Pound alongside Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo, Crawford reignited controversy by claiming that Spence hasn't accomplished enough to deserve a spot in the Boxing Hall of Fame.
Here it goes. But as soon as I heard that 114, I was just like, damn, alright, it's over with. So, yeah, man, it's just crazy. I ain't gonna lie. It's okay. We gonna run it back. It's okay. But if that was kind of a knockdown, I would win a majority decision.
Yeah, Lamont, this is Matt from Bunch.
I could retire right now and be in the Hall of Fame. He couldn't, Crawford boldly stated on the podcast. He argued that Spence's accomplishments pale in comparison to his own, pointing out that Spence only unified 3 belts in a single division and was often criticized as a weight bully. While acknowledging Spence's victory over Sean Porter, Crawford dismissed it as insufficient for Hall of Fame status. However, not everyone agrees. Veteran boxing trainer Kevin Cunningham countered Crawford's claim, stating, "In my opinion, Errol Spence Jr. has done enough to eventually get into the Hall of Fame. He's an Olympian, a 3-time world champion at welterweight, and a top 4 pound-for-pound fighter." Boxer Erickson Lubin echoed similar sentiments, though he also questioned Crawford's own level of competition. Despite Crawford's growing popularity, fueled by his win over Spence, his comments have divided the boxing community and sparked intense debate.
I don't know, did y'all see me in the ring tell him to keep counting? he started counting. I was like, why you stop? Like, keep counting. But I honestly don't know. I don't know. But
Terence Crawford delivered a dominant performance in his highly anticipated unification bout against Errol Spence, becoming the first undisputed welterweight champion in nearly 4 decades. He not only secured his place in history but also strengthened his case as the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Crawford knocked Spence down in the 2nd round and twice more in the 7th before referee Harvey Dock stopped the fight at 2:32 of the 9th round. Many in the sold-out crowd of 19,990 at T-Mobile Arena believed the stoppage could have come even sooner. The fight, years in the making, was expected to be one of the greatest matchups in modern boxing. However, after an evenly contested opening round, it quickly became a showcase of Crawford's superior skills. The 35-year-old Nebraskan put on a masterclass in power, precision, and ring control, making an elite opponent look outmatched with a victory. Crawford became the first fighter to hold all major welterweight titles since Lloyd Honeyghan's 1986 upset of Donald Curry. Unfortunately for Spence, his typically relentless southpaw pressure was no match for Crawford's dynamic switch hitting and pinpoint counterpunching. The loss left Spence's career at a crossroads, while Crawford cemented his status as a generational talent. Terence Crawford made history in his welterweight title unification bout, knocking down Errol Spence Jr. for the first time in his 29-fight professional career. Crawford, who extended his streak to 11 consecutive knockouts, including all 8 of his opponents since moving up to 147 pounds, reflected on his journey. "I only dreamed of being a world champion. I'm an overachiever. Nobody believed in me when I was coming up, but I made everybody a believer. I want to thank Spence and his team because, without him, none of this would have been possible." Spence started aggressively, using his jab as a rangefinder while targeting Crawford's midsection. As the naturally bigger fighter, he relied on footwork and body attacks to push Crawford back. But in the 2nd round, an overextended right hand left Spence vulnerable. Crawford seized the moment with a precise counterpunch, sending Spence to the canvas for the first time in his career. From that moment on, Spence was fighting an uphill battle. The Texan came out swinging in the third round, determined to prove his resilience, but Crawford's impeccable defense nullified his attacks. By the fourth, Spence was bleeding from a cut over his right eye as Crawford's superior speed and precision became undeniable. With each passing round, the fight shifted further in Crawford's favor.
Ain't nobody scared of nobody. It's all about the bread at the end of the day. In the perfect world, if I could have it, how I want to have it, thank God Lamont Roach made a name for 135 division because we needed somebody.
Okay.
Speak real. So now we got a new person. Thank God. So now we got Lamont Roach. If I could have it my way,
I was just really patient. Roach was patient, bro. He was tight. He was patient. And he wasn't really rushing in. And every now and then he'll make a mistake. He'll probably lunge a little bit or reach with the right hand. Yeah. And then he got countered. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't give a whole lot of, and it made me really think I was like.
Terence Crawford made history in his welterweight title unification bout, knocking down Errol Spence Jr. for the first time in his 29-fight professional career. Crawford, who extended his streak to 11 consecutive knockouts, including all 8 of his opponents since moving up to 147 pounds, reflected on his journey. I only dreamed of being a world champion. I'm an overachiever. Nobody believed in me when I was coming up, but I made everybody a believer. I want to thank